I'm live. Okay, hi. Welcome to Perfectly Imperfect Parenting Facebook Live Q&A sessions. Very excited to be here tonight. Tonight, it is raining outside and it's absolutely beautiful. It's been a really, really busy day, and I've been spending the time re-recording a podcast that I'm working on with the beautiful Alana McIntyre. Hello, Belinda Jane. Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. I'm just going to wait for a few people to warm up and join us. So today I went and re-recorded a podcast, and I've been very, very busy creating some content for Kindness on Purpose. I've just recorded a little video that talks about our Facebook Live, and that's now on my YouTube channel and available on Kindness on Purpose Facebook page. But today, our topic for today will be, I had some other content prepared, but I wanted to specifically talk about how to look after our children and our teenagers when we've had the events such as those that have occurred in New Zealand on Friday. So I think, as parents and carers and teachers, we're thinking, what do I say? What do I say? How do I look after the feelings of my children? At what age and stage do I say what? How do I protect them? Is our first instinct. How do I look after myself when, we ourselves as the adults are quite astounded by what's happened and quite shocked and quite affected, and feeling a range of emotions. So it's going to be that kind of topic today. I did have some other things planned, like I said, but I just think it's really important to cover this off. While we're waiting, Belinda, for a few more people to hop on board, I'm just going to give it a couple of more minutes. But thank you for being here, and thank you for staying with me. Some really exciting things are happening with Kindness on Purpose. Where to begin? We've got a number of schools coming on board, so that's exciting. Also, these Q&A sessions are going to be, need to turn the beeping phone off. These Q&A sessions are about to be fortnightly, every second Monday at 8 p.m. Sydney time, because I think I would love to offer it more often so that we can gain some momentum. People can know who we are. I can promote it, all of that stuff, and people can access me more often. And the other thing that's really exciting is that if you go to Spotify, hello, Lisa Marie. Hello. Thank you for the beautiful compliment. I'm very grateful. I think I like that now. I think you're equally amazing, as are you, Belinda. The other thing that we're doing as well is if you go to Spotify, and we're just getting loaded up onto iTunes, you will see the Kindness on Purpose podcast. Now, the podcast is going to be something, like I said, it's available right now on Spotify, the first and second episode. It's going to be something where I'm going to share with you information to support you to experience kindness for yourself and for others as well, but mostly ourselves, because we need to look after ourselves more, okay? Also, I'm going to be using the podcast to showcase the goings on and the happenings at many of the Kindness on Purpose schools, because we have some phenomenal schools like, may I say, Claregate Public School, Lisa, and also Oran Park. Gosh, I could list them all off. Berkeley Public School, let me not forget anyone. Barrack Heights Public School, Oran Park Public School, I've said that, Claregate. We've got a brand new school just on board called Blairmont Public School. Claymore Public School is actually hello, Sarah Griffiths, lovely to see you, you warm-hearted soul. And so Claymore is now maintaining their certification as well as a Kindness on Purpose school. We've got Maynarm up in northern New South Wales, and a public school, beautiful school. There's just so many wonderful, wonderful schools coming on board. James Erskine Park is a new announcement. I'm going up to there this week to commence the training. There are just so many. I know I've missed some. And if I have, I'm really, really sorry. Mount Warrigal Public School. There's more. So I'm just really grateful that those schools are coming on board. So we've got the podcast. We now have a Kindness on Purpose podcast. Now, so I'm going to be sharing information, tips, ideas about how you can be kind to yourself and others. I'm also going to be using the podcast to showcase, as well as our YouTube channel, to showcase, with through audio but also visual on YouTube, some of the great magic and happenings that are occurring in the Kindness on Purpose schools. Because really, I create the program, I deliver the program to the educators, and it is the educators that embrace it, take it, and make it something that is really worthwhile for their students. And it's absolutely beautiful when you can see what's going on in the schools. And the other part of the podcast is I'm actually going to be using the podcast to showcase, not showcase, so wrong word, interview really interesting people who've got stories to tell. Maybe they're professionals with, an interest in this work. Maybe they are someone who's got a story to share about about how kindness has made a difference in life. That's what I'm using the podcast for. And last but not least, I'm going to use the podcast just as a platform to share some of the mindfulness, relaxation, meditation exercises that I've created specifically for the Kindness on Perfect schools to use just as an optional extra. So if you go to Spotify now, you will see episode 1, which is just a 5-minute little blip, 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 me talking, and inviting you to start observing acts of kindness around you. And then, hello, Sally Suzanne, thank you very much for being here. And if you also go there, I've just uploaded the first of many um, meditation slash relaxation exercises that really work with the brain, um, to um, to work with the brain to actually help students and adults, quite frankly, really work with this, our central nervous system in our brain, and really, and therefore our body, and slow down the I'm learning this is sorry, I got terribly distracted because someone just clicked a lot of things and all these faces sort of floated up on my screen, so I'm learning about this Facebook Live process. So I'm really excited to be including those, and they're going to be really accessible for the general public. These are the relaxation exercises, meditations that are also featured on Virgin Airlines on the in-flight entertainment under the Balance by Deborah Hutton channel. So I think you're going to find that the first one I've put up is the kindness tree. So I think you're going to really enjoy them, and I hope you do, and that's the intention I'm setting. So tonight I wanted to focus specifically, as I said, I had other topics ready, but because we've had the events of Friday in New Zealand, I thought I couldn't let this one pass without sharing and talking about that, So I'm here to answer any questions. If any of you have any questions that you would like to ask me about how you might best support your children or the students in your school, particularly about the events in New Zealand. I'm not sure if we're using the word terror, but I want to talk about what's different about it. What's different about this one is, first of all, hello, Trebs, Christy. Can't wait to use them at school with the kids. Yes, well, let me share them with you so you can. I'm just going to like your comment. So I'm learning how to do the live thing. So I didn't pick the love heart one. Sorry, I meant to. Whenever I hit a like, I mean to hit the love heart. So just imagine the love heart when I hit the like. Hello, Mr. Kusa, Mr. Lloyd Kusa. Very grateful for you to be here. So today, a few about the New Zealand event that's different to other events. And the first thing, well, there's 2 points really that stick out for me. One is it's in our neighbourhood. Okay, in our corner of the globe, we've now had an event where horrendous and tragic things have happened to people, and it's been done obviously by someone with severe mental illness, obviously. But Australia's affected. Australia's affected because the person the alleged person came from a new town in New South Wales called Grafton. Hey, back to you, Mr. Lloyd Kusa. And also the other, and it's just New Zealand. This has occurred in a place that is safe for us. If you think about it, who would have ever conceptualized that something would happen in New Zealand or relate to Australia at all? So I just wanted to really acknowledge that. The other thing that's really frightening about what happened is that the person doing this live streamed it. They live streamed it. They did their best to live stream it, and for a long period of time, the video content was available online for all to see, and that includes children and teenagers, adults as well. So this is different, right? Because never before have we seen that. Never before have we seen such an event where we could actually see what was happening in as it was happening. Um, I've got a kitty cat at the door, and I need to let her in. Her name's Magic. I'll just call one of my beautiful girls, and she'll go and get them. Phoebe, darling, can you please come and get Magic? I'll come. Wait for it. No. Okay. They will eventually. Phoebe, darling. They've gone quiet. I might have to get Magic in. Anyway, so let's talk about what we can do about the fact that this has happened and how we support ourselves and how we support our children and our teenagers. The first and number one thing is almost resist. Our first instinct is to protect them. So it means that we want to protect them. It's natural. Okay. Hello, Lizzie Olnett. Thank you very much for joining me. As you know, we want to protect them because we don't want them knowing the full story. And really, we don't want the children actually seeing that video footage. Now, the truth is, many adolescents would have seen it. And many and many children may have seen it. If we consider that the average age that, according to Holly Ann Martin, who's a wonderful woman with a wonderful program called Safe for Kids, check that out, Safe, and then the number 4, and then Kids. She has told me that the average age for children to be exposed to pornography online is 6 years of age. So we can safely say that there'll be a number of children who are aware or may have seen the footage. The footage is extremely distressing. I've not watched it. I've had people tell me what's on it. When it actually happened on Friday, I was seeing clients, and one of my clients walked in and said, "This is a video I've just seen. This is just what's happened in New Zealand," and it was awful. I'm actually working on another podcast with a beautiful person called Eleanor McIntyre. Alana McIntyre, sorry, Alana. And I'm not great with names, anyone who knows me. So Alana and I are putting together a podcast, and it's called the Little Gems podcast, or Little Gems of Wisdom, and that'll be coming out soon. We're releasing it tonight, and it has, I'll give you a link to that because I'm talking much more extensively. Now, Alana was actually in the newsroom at one of our major radio stations here in Australia, and she was actually covering the news as it was happening. So it was very interesting to talk to her. So basically, look, it's been horrendous. And so the very first thing we want to do is try to protect our kids. I want to encourage you to instead, hello, Mr. Aaron Dobner, lovely to see you here. Instead of wanting to protect them, I want you to understand that our job as parents certainly is to protect, but more so it is to prepare our beautiful children and young people for life. We're there to support them and give them strategies, aren't we? You know? And so, because the goal is that they can actually navigate their way through life, whether it's relationships or how they feel about themselves, how they feel about the world when these kinds of things happen. And so what we're doing all the time is we're coaching them, aren't we? We're upskilling them all the time to be absolutely able to navigate their way through a relationship breakup or a tricky event at school. And this now includes events such as what happened on Friday. So what I would be, the number one thing I'll be talking about is resist the need to pretend it didn't happen, which you can't these days. Resist the need to not talk about it. Resist the need to not answer their questions or give them an answer that is not accurate, not truthful. Okay. What we need to do with our beautiful children, yes, it is horrible news, Aaron Dobner, and you know what this stuff's like. So, as does everyone here, right? Because we're all affected. But what we need to do is we need to answer honestly. We need to say, yes, there's been a man who's very unwell mentally, who has gone and killed people with weapons, and yes, he's videoed it, and this is new, and therefore it can leave us feeling sad and scared, you know. And my job as your parent slash carer slash teacher is to help you be able to look after your feelings so you can start to feel safe again. Our instinct is to want to jump back to normality straight as quickly as possible, get our kids out doing fun things, anything to distract them. But what I would want to talk to you about is take some time to have those conversations. Sit there and talk to them and say, what do you think about this? You know, what do you know about it even? What have you seen? What have you heard? Find out what they know, because sometimes our kids don't even know that you don't know what your kids know. And we can't always know because we're all busy running around looking after ourselves. Ask them what they know, answer their questions the best way you can, honest as possible. I'm not saying we sit down and we show our children the footage. That would be horrible. Okay, it's too distressing. It's really horrendous what's happened. Um, but to be there and answer their questions is absolutely paramount. The other thing that I wanted to add then is the next stage is, once we've acknowledged what's happened, we're open to conversations, and we say to our kids, look, we're beginning the conversation today about what's happened, and it's okay to then continue the conversation. You know, as your mom or your dad or your carer or your teacher, I'm going to check in and see how you're going. I'm going to check in and see how you're feeling, you know, because that's what we do. We don't actually experience the distress and then it goes away in 2 or 3 days. The body keeps score. It's scientifically proven, okay, when we experience trauma. So what I want you to do is be open, encourage conversation, check back in 2 or 3 days later, 7 days later, you know, and the best way is as informally as possible, around the dinner table. Driving along in the car is great with adolescents because they're alongside you. Um, all of that kind of thing. And then what I would talk about is, of course, we need to do the looking after our feelings the kindness on purpose way. Now that relates to both the people that your children and adolescents, okay, that you're looking after. It also relates to you. We're meant to be the big grown up adults that are okay and we just shove it behind us, and but people everywhere are feeling really unsafe and really affected by what's gone on, okay? And we need to, and I'm going to talk about post-traumatic growth. Come with me while I let the cat in. Come with me. Look, here we go. We're letting the cat in. In you go, Magic. Here we go. Cool. Okay. So perfectly imperfect parenting. Got to manage the cat as well. So number one is also looking. Hello, Karen McAllister. Thank you for joining us. Number one is also looking after yourself. Our world has been shaken up. Horrible things have happened. Our brain and our body felt it on Friday. Our brain and our body felt it over the weekend, and our brain and our body is still feeling it today. So what I'd like you to all to do is, hello, lovely Kelly Oxley, long time no communicating. So I'm very excited that you're here. What I'm really wanting people to do is I'm wanting people to just take a moment and do this with me, okay? I'm going to teach you to do a body scanning technique. And hello, Holly Ann Martin. I was just mentioning you. We're going to do a body scanning technique, and I use this with my first responder, PTSD. I use this with adult survivors of child sexual abuse. I use this with anyone who's experiencing distress, really. And what we're going to do is we're just going to let ourselves be aware of where in our body are we feeling the distress and the heaviness of the events on Friday. So I just want you just to take a big deep breath and join with me. Ready? Maybe another one. Let's do another one. Okay. I just want you to rest your awareness on your head and just notice any physical discomfort that may be in your head, you may be feeling in your head. Just notice it. Just pay attention to it. Headache, pain, discomfort. Now I want you to pay attention again to your head and just notice any emotional, heavy feelings that you may be feeling there. Just allow yourself to notice. Again, We're moving down into the chest. The vagus nerve that runs from the back of our brain down through our chest into our gut is activated when we're distressed. So that's why we feel a heavy sensation in our chest when we are distressed. So we're going to listen to our chest now, just feel it. Again, notice any physical sensations of discomfort, okay? And then allow yourself just to feel, am I feeling an emotional heaviness? Now, you know the feeling. Everyone here has probably had a broken heart, okay? Hello, Kate. Welcome. Um, we've all had a broken heart. We've all had grief. We all know the feeling of that heavy feeling in our chest. So just be aware, are you feeling any heavy feelings in your chest that you feel is related to the events on Friday? Just notice if it's there. Moving ourselves down to our gut. Our gut or our tummy or our stomach, as we call it, I love tummy, is often where we feel a lot of heavy emotions. Again, it's the vagus nerve that's quite busy. I do like to say to people, I'm going to give you a little bit of a rude shock here. We don't actually have butterflies in our tummy. Okay, we don't have butterflies. It's actually that nervous feeling is, or that heavy feeling is your vagus nerve busy down in our tummy gut area. So we do experience our emotion physically. So just rest your awareness on your tummy, notice any discomfort or pain physically that might be there, and then just notice any heavy feelings that might be resting there. Okay, now we're moving around to the back. We're noticing any pain and discomfort. Oh, stretch. Oh, yeah. Who's doing this? I need to stretch. Yes. Okay. Noticing any pain and discomfort, giving yourself a good stretch, and then just allow yourself to be aware of any any heaviness, emotional heaviness that you may notice in your back. Now, many of us store our stress in our back, so I know you know what I'm talking about. Thank you, darling. This is my beautiful Kate letting the cat out. Thank you very much. Out you go, Magic. Okay, can you fix that up, sweetheart? And then moving our awareness back up to the throat. Where are we experiencing a sensation of, are you experiencing any discomfort? Maybe you've got a sore throat or a cold. I'm sorry if you have. But otherwise, just be aware of any heavy feelings in your throat. Now, a big deep breath. That's a body scanning technique. Now, once you learn how to do that, you can do that really quickly. You can literally just think head, chest, belly, back, throat. Where am I feeling physical discomfort? Just noticing, and then head, chest, belly, back, throat. Where am I feeling, holding an emotional, heavy feeling? Okay, just to be aware of that. Okay, so once you've done that for yourself, you will be aware of where you may be feeling some heavy emotions about the event on Friday that you're still carrying through. Okay, we all are moving now. It's day 4, so we're moving out of that state of severe shock, and that's when we will start our brain that's numbed off and numbed off the rest of our central nervous, our brain and bodies that was numb, so we didn't feel those emotions. That starts to wear off after the 3rd day, after 72 hours, and so we just be aware that you might start to feel those heavy feelings. Um, Now, what's really interesting is you might say to me, "No, I'm fine. Actually, I'm fine," and I'll say to you, "Are you feeling a little bit more agitated than usual? Okay, are you feeling restless? Are you feeling tired that you want to sleep? Is your body, because we express our distress through our bodies and our behavior. Did you notice that you were a bit more irritable when towards your children this weekend? Did you notice that as you scanned around the world, you just felt a little bit more unsafe yourself? Okay. Hi, Rand. Did you notice that you all of a sudden were thinking of your own mortality? Because the number one thing that happens for particularly adults is that when a tragic event happens, it's human nature to straight away go to, that could have been me. I could have been at my church praying. I could have been with my spiritual group. I could have been at that soccer event or that sporting event. If it's happened there, it can happen here. So immediately it's human nature to start to really reflect on your own mortality. Okay. If you're experiencing all of those things, then what I would say to you is yes, you are affected by the events on Friday, even if you don't think you are. Okay. What we all need to do moving forward is once we've acknowledged that we're having these reactions, maybe your body is a bit more achy and painy and sore as well. Once we acknowledge all that, what happens is we can then go about looking after your feelings. Now, you've heard me speak before about a heat pack, and all the people who know me know that I believe in heat packs and cool packs very, very much. They really work well. I want you to use your five senses as well: sight, smell, taste, touch. What's the other one? Oh, that's right, hearing. Hearing. I want you to use those to actually bring joy to your senses. So I want you to be aware of the beautiful things you can see, the wonderful things you can feel, the lovely sounds you can hear. I want you to be spending time thinking about all the beautiful things that you have in your life and that you can be grateful for. We don't feel like it sometimes, but what I'm wanting to foster for you is a sense of post traumatic growth. Okay, there's post traumatic stress, which many of us are feeling. But what I'm wanting for you is to move into, when you're ready, allow yourself time to deal with those feelings. But when you're ready, move into a state of post traumatic growth. So start noticing the beautiful things. Use this time as an opportunity. Use this time as an opportunity to review your own life. What is it about yourself and your life and your relationships that you'd like to change? We have been reminded very clearly that life is short. Okay, what is it that you could change? So reach out to someone, make that phone call, write that note, enjoy that cake, um, look after your body more. All of these things are really, really important. So these are ways that you can be looking after yourself. Now let's get back to the children and the adolescents. Frank and open conversations, asking them, what have they heard? What do they know? Ask them, do they have any questions? Then, once you've explored that, keeping that conversation open, knowing that it's what I call a living conversation. So it's where it has a beginning, but it has a middle, and the end may be in days, weeks, months, or years. Okay, because people will be talking about it for a long time. But allow your children and adolescents to decide when that end is for them. Be open. Make sure they know they can come to you at any time, except when you're sleeping. Okay, when you're sleeping. Um, yes, yes, Karen, and it's so important to recalibrate. That all of these things are about recalibrating and reconnecting with ourselves. Okay, so the next thing is I want to support you to again ask your children to go through that process. Say, explain to them it's understandable. We've all got heavy feelings about this. You're going to feel heavy. Try not to use the words. Try not to use the words scary or angry or sad. Try to use the word heavy because it describes all of the emotions really well. And we don't want to put the words into our children and teenagers' mouths. They might be feeling sad but not scared, or scared but not sad. So we don't want to put those words, but the word heavy really covers everything. Okay. And you can explain that to your children if you're not part of a kindness on purpose community. I mean, the school who openly has the knowledge. So ask them to notice where they're feeling their feelings, explain that it's normal, work with alongside them to practice some ways of looking after their feelings, take them into nature, go for a swim, it's still slightly warm enough, take them into nature for a walk them on the beach, eat some yummy food, share time as a family, and make it open, make it blatant. Say, we're doing this to look after our feelings, we're doing this to look after our feelings, because when we know that we're feeling heavy, we work with our body and our senses to look after our feelings, then we can feel okay again. We need to remind ourselves that we can feel okay again. Okay. Um, the next thing, if anyone here has a question at all about a particular, hello Rachel, if you've got a question now about the way your children or students in your school are actually experiencing this event, please feel free. This is Q&A. I'm just chatting away here and explaining to you some tips I can give you. But if you've got some questions, please let me know. Okay, thank you. Liziana is saying, what are the signs that someone isn't coping ongoing and possibly need to get further help? Very good question, Lizzie. So what happens is we express our distress through our bodies and our behavior. The signs I'd be looking for, there are two ways that people will let you know that they're not okay. And it is usually, not always, but usually an exaggeration of their normal coping strategy. In the world we have people who are, to put it very simply, there's a very scientific way of describing it, but to put it very simply, we have people who, when they're distressed, explode more, express more, and we have people who implode and repress their feelings more. Okay? The people who explode are likely to be more aggressive, more agitated. For your children, they'll all of a sudden be very upset about the fact that their pencil fell on the floor, is the example I always use. Or, you know, you might have siblings fighting more often. It'll be something, it's not usual for kids to, that's why I talk about facilitating that conversation. If they haven't had a chance to do that, it's not usual for kids to come up and say, "Oh, hello, mum, dad, carer, auntie, uncle, teacher. Just wanting to let you know that I'm having a emotional experience here about the events on Friday or about something that's upsetting me, and I'm now going to articulate to you a series of statements that will therefore give you the full comprehension of how I'm actually feeling." Kids don't do it that way. They show us with their behavior. Okay, they will be, over this sort of incident, they'll have a more exaggerated response. Other children will become quieter, more withdrawn. They won't want to talk at all. You'll find them doing activities that are more on their own. So they're the signs that you need to be looking for, okay? Issues with sleeping is always significant. Change in appetite is always significant. They're the kind of signs that we need to be looking for, okay? And if they do need further help, then I encourage you to go straight to your general practitioner and talk to him about a mental health care plan to take themselves off, to have just, it doesn't have to be 10 years of therapy, a few sessions, some good coaching with a good therapist and psychologist and social accredited mental health care social worker, or to call the kids helpline. And I'll put the details of the kids helpline at the bottom as part of this post. That's another service that's important to give your children, the phone number of the kids helpline, and that's obviously for adolescents as well. And for those of us who are adults, the 1-800 respect number is a fabulous number for us to call, because they are there for people who've been exposed to and experienced trauma in any way. That includes professionals. So for those of you who are listening who are also educators or therapists, you too can utilize the 1-800 respect number, because we are also affected as we hear vicariously the stories of what happens to other people. Okay. So I hope that's answered your question, Lizzie. Is there any aspect there of the question that I haven't answered? Please let me know, and I will absolutely cover that. Okay. Um, I think that brings me to the end of tonight's Perfectly Imperfect Parenting Q&A Facebook Live. I'll just wait and see as I chat away that there's not another question, okay? But what I want you all to remember is we're all imperfect. We're all imperfect. We're all, we're going to make mistakes. The ideas I share with you, it's not necessarily going to flow beautifully as I describe it to be. Often you'll talk to your kids and you're saying, look, I'm letting you know I'm aware that you might be affected by the events on Friday, and they're rolling around on the floor and saying, what's for tea, mum? What's for tea, dad? And did you hear about my friend down the road? They did blah, blah, blah. I always say with children, do not take the way they're responding to you as a sign that they're not listening, because I can guarantee you it's going in. The fact that you care enough to ask those questions mean that it's going in there, and they're hearing you, okay? And they may not ask you then, but they're going to talk to you at bedtime, aren't they? That's when a lot of these questions come up. They're going to talk to you at bedtime, because that's when they're feeling, their brains have slowed down, they're allowing themselves to wonder about life, they're feeling vulnerable as they make the transition from awake to asleep. So it's often at bedtime that these beautiful, cozy conversations happen. So what I guess another tip I can give you is just allow a little bit more time for conversation at bedtime, okay? When they're moving from what I love to call the in between awake and asleep. And it's such a beautiful, vulnerable time for children, but it's when they can really share, okay? So remember, pop across to Spotify, Very exciting. We have a Kindness on Purpose podcast now. Episode 1 and episode 2 up. Episode 1 is a little 5-minute spiel about Kindness on Purpose, the podcast, and a little cute little life tip on how you can start to immerse yourself into a kind life. But also, there's the first of a meditation or brain-based relaxation exercise that you can use called the kindness tree, that you can use in your classroom, you can use with your kids at home, and I would love you to enjoy that. That's listed as episode 2, and I will be uploading more and more of these lovely kindness on purpose inspired meditation relaxation exercises for you. Okay, remember, I'm back in 2 weeks' time. So what is someone have to work out? Of course, I should have the date. An organized person would, wouldn't they? Let me have a little look. So 2 weeks from today is, can someone tell me, is it the 1st of April? It feels like the 1st of April. Yes, it is. It's the 1st of April. The 1st of April, 8 p.m. I will be back here with another Kindness on Purpose, Perfectly Imperfect Parenting Q&A session for you. Please let me know if you would like to be involved, on if you would like to suggest any topics. We've got some topics from last time's Q&A, but please spread the word. If you've enjoyed this, share this with some dear friends and colleagues and say, look, this is really worthwhile, if you found it really worthwhile, because my intention is to reach 1 million people, and I'm absolutely determined to do it. Wishing you all a wonderful evening. Remember, we're allowed to be imperfect. It's okay. Take care. Good night. See you later.